Hey everybody, welcome. I'm back to the Jersey Buzz, and today, my next guest is, he's this guy that you will see always helping out on the street in the community, and it's really what makes community strong, and that's what the show is all about: is a voice for community. So, welcome to the show.
Well, hello, Miss April.
Hello, Jim. So tell, everybody that your connection to Bordentown City, because I
Well,
see.
I was born and raised in Bordentown. Grew up there in a little tiny little street, in a little tiny little row home. My grandparents owned a business there. My mother was born on Crosswick Street, so I've got a long tie to Bordentown City.
I know.
So
What business did they own?
they own the what is now Bordentown Home for Funerals. Used to be Hartman's Funeral Home.
Oh, okay.
So they own that for God 40, 50 years.
Oh, get
So
out of
yeah,
here.
so I got a long history. Mom was born there, and that for whatever reason, she moved to town when we were young, and she pretty much raised all of us kids over there on Willow Street. And it's a great
Yeah.
little town. Great little town.
No, it is a great. I love Bordentown
Yeah,
City.
yeah,
I mean, I love a lot of towns, but I love
yeah,
Bordentown City. You know
absolutely.
that. So, well, did you ever help out with a funeral home?
I used to when I was in school. I would go over after work. I would rake all the leaves in the back, and I would take the garbage out twice a week. Gramps had a wicked sense of humor, and I would stay for dinner. And they lived on the second floor, and he had this real long stairway that went down, and he had his office. And he would every once in a while ask me to go get something in his office. And of course, he would leave the door to the funeral parlor open, so if there was somebody in there, as 8 or 10 years old, I can remember. I still have chills walking down that hallway when I go over there. I see Rob. I walk down and I kind of peer around the corner a little bit. But yeah, he had a wicked sense of humor.
Yeah. Did Rob buy it from your family?
Yes, he did.
No
Yes, he
way.
did.
He has a
Yes.
great story
Yeah.
too.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Oh my
Rob's a great
gosh.
guy.
I did not know that. In fact, he'll be on soon.
Okay.
Um, so the reason why I had you come in is because I love how I'm always seeing you in getting involved in the community. You're
Mhm.
either with a weed whacker, a leaf blower, or you're just volunteering for something. And I kind of wanted to go through what inspired you to, why do you get involved? Obviously, you were born and raised there, but a lot of people don't do that.
Right. So I don't know. I'm affectionately known as the crazy weed whacker guy. But I just love my little town. I grew up there. I moved away. We moved away for 20 years. When the kids got older, my wife wanted to come back. So when we did get back, obviously we built a salon. And when I got done with the salon, I had some free time on my hands, and I just saw a lot of things that needed a lot of improvement. Bordentown has come up quite a bit from what it used to be. Back from, I'm going to sound old and date myself, back in my day in the
Well, you
80s.
grew up
I
there.
grew up there, so it's a totally different town now. The downtown is nowhere near then what it is now, and it's improving, but there were still a lot of I would see the weeds a foot tall, and I would see the common areas
Mhm.
just totally, and it drove me crazy. And I just picked up a weed whacker one day and started, and people would stop and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "I just want to clean this up." And before you know it, people were like, "Hey, you need help?" And so from there, that's kind of how it started. So it
No
was just
way.
totally organic, and just one day picked up my weed whacker and wanted to go out, and here again now I got lots of people. They call me all the time.
When you going out
When you
again?
going out again? I mean, we have the green team in Bordentown, which is an
Mhm.
amazing group of people. They all get together, they show up, they get things done. The historical society is another amazing group. I try to help them as much as possible.
Yeah.
And we have a recently formed trails committee, and that's another really great group of people. We're trying to clean up in the parks and create some new trails, and they've been out helping me for the last couple of weekends. Actually, we're doing something again this Saturday. So it's just started organically, and people want to see things look nice, and they like coming out. They like the camaraderie.
Mhm.
They like seeing what we do, and it just entices them to do more once they see something get done. So it was purely organic.
Oh
So
my, honestly, I don't think I knew that. I had a
yeah,
different version in my
yeah,
head.
gotcha.
All I know is that I always saw you, but you were always associated with someone, so I thought maybe just join the group.
Yeah.
But now that you say that, it did make sense because then I would hear people talk about you. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I got you on film. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, look at there's Jim with his weed whacker and his leaf blower.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I thought this was great is because look at the story you just told. Now people are, I mean, because I don't know how many people really know their neighbors,
Yeah.
but that used to be like you knew your
When I
neighbors.
grew up, everybody knew everybody in town.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Eh,
And the demographics have totally changed. We have so many new young families in town, and you know, you make an investment in town, you want to get involved, and it's great to see how many people actually come out and care. It really is.
I know, and you get to understand because being part of a community is not just like you get home, you park your car, you go
Mm.
inside. It's, you're if you're raising children, they play out in the streets.
Yep.
Everybody knows everyone so they can kind of keep an eye out. That's how we grew up.
Yep.
We were never
Absolutely.
inside.
Absolutely.
Now, what did you do like for a living?
So I'm in construction. I got in construction at a real early age. I work for a large general contractor. We work out at McGuire Dix, do large projects there. But I started as a carpenter, but I've been a superintendent for the last, God, 35 years.
Okay.
So I just run projects now. Is what I do.
Oh, that makes
More or less
sense.
construction management. So I've seen it, done it all myself, but now I just point the finger.
I
So
know, because so little shout out, Laura's Salon. Get my hair done there. You did a beautiful job with the
thank
salon.
you,
You did
thank
all
you.
that.
Built that, designed it, built it. Yep, did the whole thing.
Yeah, and that
So
was well, you sold a house. That's where you moved into, so you also lived there as well.
right. So we, you know,
Nice.
we it's actually our third location at the salon. We started out in Homestead in Columbus, and then we were there for 20 years. We moved to Florence on the highway. We were
Mhm.
there for 13 years. And quite honestly, we just got tired of paying rent. And when the kids got older, my wife said, let's look at Bordentown. And we had a friend who owned the property that I bought. And we would see him out occasionally, and he would tease. He was an accountant. He would tease. He's like, when I sell, you're going to buy my property, right? And my wife's always like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, no, no, no. So one day, he calls out of the blue and he says, I just want to let you guys know I'm putting my property up for sale. If you want it, I'm going to give you first dibs. So
Right.
we went over, we walked through it, we looked at it, and she started all these crazy ideas. And before you know it, a week later, we made an offer, and here we are. So,
Laura having crazy ideas. Love you, Laura. But yes, your wife, I love her, and she's got a mind like mine, just
yes,
always coming up with great ideas.
the Energizer Bunny. Yes.
Oh, 100%. But you don't fall far from that tree. The other thing the reason I wanted to have these conversations with people in the community who do things is that I was kind of, doing a little homework on you. And I came across, this like the sidewalks need to be fixed and this needs to be done
Mhm.
and our city and blah, blah, blah. And that's great. But people can really make a difference. And
Absolutely.
I've seen you make that difference by showing up, getting involved, now you're part of some organizations now, right?
I'm a member of the Parks Committee. I help out with the Shade Tree Committee. I'm not actually a member, but I help them. I help with the Historical Society. Recently, just got involved with the new Trails Committee. So yeah, quite a few things. I go to all the council meetings. I listen. Sometimes I'll go to the work session meetings. I just have a huge interest in everything that goes on in our little town.
Yeah.
So I'm also a member of the Downtown Bordentown Association.
New.
Those are our
You're
new
new.
members. So yeah.
Yeah.
So honestly, that's really what got me out and about. When we finally opened the business, I was proud of that we moved there, and I was proud of our downtown. And I would take a walk through our downtown and go, well, we could really use some improvements here. And just started doing things mainly because I wanted the downtown to look really great. That's what I started.
But that's
So,
the difference
yes.
is you didn't think about
I
it.
just did it.
You actually
Yeah.
took your weed whacker, which that's badassery right there, people. I highly recommend it. But you made a difference. Now, one of the things that I just hear this chatter and people complaining, I'm like, stop the madness. It's bad enough. We live in a really crazy
Yes, we
time.
do.
And the reason why I love having this conversation with people is that people can make a difference by simply going to I mean, when you go to the township meetings and you actually show up, that's your voice.
Absolutely.
And, what is
Absolutely.
some, advice? Because I know that you guys do that and make a difference.
So our biggest thing is probably our local Facebook page. And I would say 90% of the people get their information, and I somewhat call it the disinformation channel sometimes, because people
True.
will get on there and say things that aren't necessarily true, and it picks up speed. And I always tell everybody, listen, if you want the truth in anything that goes on in the town, just it takes an hour once a month.
Yeah.
Go to a township meeting, go to the city meeting, and you can ask the questions. The three commissioners are there. They'll all answer your question. If you have a concern, they'll meet with you afterwards. They'll follow up with phone calls. That's the start. If you don't go to those meetings and you just listen to the gossip rumors or what's going on,
Hmm.
you're going to be misinformed. So,
Yeah.
so that would be the biggest thing that I would say to anybody. And you can even attend those meetings by Zoom call. So you don't even have to leave your living room. You could sit in your living room for 45 minutes to an hour and listen to everything that goes on. And once you start understanding the woes of the city and some of the problems that we have in the city, you'll be a little more understanding, and two, hopefully, you'll want to roll up your sleeves and kind of help them a little bit. It's a community, like you said. We're a community. We're 4,000 people, so we're a tiny little town, a little Mayberry-esque, I'm going to say, and
Yeah.
we all live together. It's like everybody's in our backyard. We're all neighbors. We're all friends. Um, Anything anybody does is going to benefit everybody in town. So
100%.
being negative doesn't do anything, and spreading, false things that you talk about that you have no idea. You should ask questions before you go on and start saying things and rile everybody up.
No,
Um,
it just so you know, Bordentown's not the only city that does
sure.
that. So this
Yep.
kind of goes to everyone. And
Yes.
just it's not necessary because like you said, if you have a question, ask the source.
Right.
I hear stuff about me all the time and I'm like, why didn't they just ask
Yeah.
me?
Exactly.
Just ask me
Exactly.
why that didn't happen and I
Right.
will tell you.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, that's it's called what is that with the telephone? Like one person says something and the next, and by
Yeah.
the time
Yep.
it's like it's a
Yeah.
game that you play, and the
Yep.
whole construction of what was said by the
It's
time it
totally
gets
out
through,
of context.
totally out of
Totally out of
context.
context. Exactly.
And when you live in a small town, nobody wants to feel ick.
Right. I agree.
You
I
just want to
agree.
feel like this is where I live and be proud of it, and
Exactly.
no civil wars within
Exactly.
each other
We have enough problems
on the
way above us on the
outside.
outside. So in our tiny little community, and here again, we're a 1 square mile,
It's so small.
tiny little town. I mean, we all have to get along. It's honestly, we
I
have to get
know.
along. There's no place to hide in town from each
And
other.
it's a great, like I know, Vince was on here about the Seward Johnson
sculptures,
statues,
yeah.
the sculptures, and
Yeah,
so
amazing. Another amazing group. Yep.
but another amazing thing
Yep.
is you and your wife. You guys are,
Yep.
along with a couple other people, are
Yep.
sponsored.
So Marie and Carl, our neighbors up on Farnsworth Avenue, and us. Yep, we got together trying to get a sculpture together that would depict the military in some way. So
Yeah,
Vince came up with a really awesome piece. It's actually was in the Pentagon for a while,
I know that's so cool.
and yep. So we decided, we between us and Carl and Maria, we pitched in, and we're going to get it for a year on our front lawn. So it's
I
going to
think
be
that's
awesome.
great.
It's going to be awesome, and we're a gateway into town. So
Yep.
we're hoping that that'll help drive everybody into town. So it's going to be really nice.
It's nice. And again, you guys are in your rewirement years, I
Mhm.
like to call it.
Yes.
And you have this opportunity to give back to your community, and I love it. And also you were helpful because of your skill set with the mural.
Yes. So
There's right across
right,
the street.
right across the street. So here again, they're my neighbors. All the guys from the lodge are great guys. Met them all 5-6 years ago.
Mhm.
We've been talking for years. I have always said, if you ever needed a hand, I'll come help you. And then, the mural popped up, and of course, CJ and Leon,
Yep.
they were in a tizzy trying to find somebody to do the repairs before they could do the mural. And I didn't realize how much work it was actually going to be, but in the end, I just said, yeah, I'll help you out, and had a few friends together. And here again, that was great too. I had a few friends that I used to work with 40, 50 years ago, and they, were all retired, almost like you said, rewired now.
Mhm.
and it was great. It was like getting the band back together, and
I love it.
we hung out, and for 4 or 5 weekends, and got it together. So yeah, that was a really cool thing, and the mural's awesome. The mural's awesome. I'm hoping they can do another mural somewhere else in town.
Yeah, I
That
know.
would be
It's
nice.
beautiful. And
Yeah.
it's it's preserving history
Yes.
that people don't necessarily know about. Because Bordentown City goes back. So, I mean, what was
Yeah.
it?
1682. So
1682.
if you want
Wow.
to talk about history, we might need more than a half an hour because Bordentown is just
A lot.
so rich in history, and that's what I love the most about our little town. We
Yeah.
were a Revolutionary War town. We were invaded by the Hessians in 1777. So the Hessians actually occupied our town. And the house on the corner, which my property is a part of, it was their backyard at the time.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Hessians occupied, which was the Joseph Hopkinson house. He's the signer of the Declaration of Independence.
Hmm.
The Hessians came into town, and they literally were going to burn the entire town down, and they burnt most of it down. But
Wow.
the Hessian general admired his library so much that he refused to burn it down. He made that his headquarters. So the Hessians were actually headquartered in the building that my building actually sits on, is a part of.
Right, right.
So the history is just amazing. So that was in 1777, the Revolution going. Then you get into how our town was founded in 1682. Joseph Borden, he was a stagecoach operator. So we're halfway between New York and Philadelphia,
Hmm.
and we're right on the bend of the river. The main traffic was down the river at that time, so he made it a stagecoach stop. It was just a bluff. He came there was nothing in town, and he started the stagecoach business. And then so when stagecoaches, obviously like the telephone, went by the wayside, it went to the steamships. We were also a port for the steamships in Bordentown, and then the railroads, which is huge history. 1831, we had the first movement by rail in the state of New Jersey.
That is so cool.
That is so cool.
And it was called the
It was the
Bull.
So the John Bull was the engine.
John Bull.
So the John Bull engine was a steam engine that was purchased in England, and they shipped it over here in parts.
Wow.
And they actually had a young kid who worked for the railroad at the time, had no instructions. He put the John Bull together. He came in crates, took it out, kind of figure out how to put it together. And our
And
bridge,
they didn't have internet then.
They didn't have internet then, so you couldn't
So
Google it.
that was a
Couldn't Google the instructions.
There was
Couldn't
no
do it.
YouTube video
No
for that.
YouTube video for
Oh
that.
my, that was a
So,
brain person.
Exactly.
Whoa.
So the John Bull now is in the Smithsonian Institute. So I don't know if you know that too, but
Yeah.
the original John Bull
I do
is in
know
the
that.
Smithsonian Institute. So we have a monument across from the Veterans Monument that is about the John Bull.
And then there's that bridge.
And then so the bridge is part of the railroad. We also had at that time Joseph
Bonaparte.
Yeah. Lived where the Divine Word is, the City Hall now. And when the railroad was going to go through, they wanted to run it along the river, along his property, and he sued them. And that's why we have that big cut through the center of Bordentown. He sued them and stopped them from running it because he didn't want it on his property. So from running down alongside the river. So they had to run down through the center of Bordentown, and that was all hand dug, that big giant tunnel that you see that goes all the way down from Prince Street all the way to 3rd Street was all hand dug. And that railroad bridge, which is right now the oldest continually used carriage bridge. Back then it was carriages rode across the top of it. Still in existence in America. So
Wow.
Pierre Lacombe is trying to get that on the National Register now. And Pierre was instrumental in getting the Department of Transportation to take a second look at replacing the bridge. So
yeah, I heard about that.
we're still hoping that that's the case. They said that they are going to go to replacement, but once the engineers get involved, you have no idea what's going to happen.
I know.
But I hope they save the bridge because it's a true piece of history. I mean,
I know.
1831 the bridge was built, so it's almost 200 years old.
Oh my gosh.
So
so much.
Yeah.
So I mean, we just started talking, and you haven't even.
I haven't even touched the surface of the history in town.
Surface.
Yeah, I haven't even touched the history in town. I mean, the history in our tiny little town is amazing. It really is amazing.
It is amazing, and they take the history. Bordentown City has become a destination.
Yes,
100%.
Yes.
It actually hits all the markers,
Yeah.
and now we know who keeps it clean. I'm just kidding. I know you got a teamwork that does it.
I have a team that helps. Yes,
I know, and I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Yep.
One last, to wrap up the show. how can people, like, say someone's like, loves what you're saying and they want to get involved, what would be their first step to get involved with anything?
There's so many different groups in town, and
Join one.
it's just join one.
Okay.
The city has a new website that lists all the different committees and different groups and what they do, and it gives you updates of all the different events that they plan. I mean, we have so many organizations in town.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There really is. It depends on if you love history, join the historical society.
Yeah,
If
they
you
do a
love
lot.
parks, join the parks committee. If you love trails and walking on trails, join the trails committee.
Okay.
We
Good advice.
we have Old City Hall is another committee. I mean, the history in that they spend the time to fix up the old City Hall. They've been doing a fantastic job. The number one thing, like I said before, is if you really want to know, attend a couple City Hall meetings, and you'll be
Yeah.
enlightened. You'll be enlightened of all the woes and the problems, and speak your piece, and they will definitely answer and listen to you. And they try very hard to do the right thing, and it's our whole community is it's just got such a great feel when you walk downtown.
It does.
Especially like in this time of year, springtime,
Yeah.
everybody's going to be dining outside again. It's just it's amazing from what it was 40 years ago. Amazing. I mean, I lived it 40 years ago, and I just Sunday mornings I'll go have brunch and sit out on the sidewalk, and it's just hundreds of people,
Pinching yourself.
hundreds of people in our downtown.
I know, it's
unbelievable.
great.
It's unbelievable.
I know. Well, thank you so much
All
for
right.
coming on to the show.
All right. Thank you.
And thank you for watching. And please like and share and comment. And even if you don't live in Bordentown, you should definitely check it out, or get involved in your own community.